My name's Wes. I've lived here in Colorado for a little over 4 years, 4.5 years. I've been with Highway the whole time, and I work in the social work type of arena, I guess you'd say. What does faith mean to me? What does my faith mean to me? That's a great question. It's about just knowing that he's right here, and that no matter how much I get wrapped up in my own stuff, no matter how much the moment can cause me to struggle, that I don't have to. I was in Longmont, my town, and I was with some friends. We were eating at a diner that we go to frequently, and I was there with one of my best friends who's also a very close spiritual buddy of mine, and she was sitting across from me, and we were eating, and I saw the look on her face as though something was going wrong. So I turned around and I saw an older guy fall to his knees, and at that moment it did seem like they had just called 911 and there was a group around him that seemed like they were taking care of things. So at that point we realized that though these people may know what they were doing, or may have known what they were doing, they hadn't started compressions yet, and obviously you got to get on that stuff really quickly. I turned around, and real quickly, my friend Monica, she yelled out, someone's got to start compressions. And so they were starting to get him down in position correctly. And there was one guy there that seemed to be kind of running things. So I just felt, I don't know how to explain this next part here. I felt really light-spirited and kind of joyous, and that's a situation where I would normally be a little freaked out in, to be honest, and yet I felt very, I don't know, almost lackadaisical, and I decided that it was time for me to get up and walk around and look at what was going on. So I did, and I saw them down there on the ground, and the man that was about to start compressions, he was getting positioned. And I remember just looking down at the situation and just being very at peace with the whole thing. And right then, the man who was doing the compressions, he shouted out, I need a breather! And I found myself right there, and I realized, oh, that's me. I'm supposed to be the breather. Okay. And so right then, it was, he called it out, and I was already in position and already cleaned the man's face out, and I went down to do the breaths. It was the strangest experience for me, and I don't think that they would necessarily be like this for everybody else, but for me it was a very unique experience. As soon as I went down and connected with his mouth, the space, and I don't know how to explain this better, this is the terminology I always use, but the space that was created between our mouths, right away it felt like a holy, sacred space. So that was my first breath. Then I pulled back and I went down for my second breath, and for my second breath it wasn't getting in there and I wasn't sure why. So I pulled back to reposition his head, and the reason why I wasn't getting in there is because as soon as I breathed into him, the Lord brought him back to life with my first breath. The moment that I was done breathing, he was back and using his own muscles, and I wasn't able to get into his airway because he'd already come back to consciousness, or started to. And it was just such a wild and special experience. So afterwards, my perspective has shifted quite a bit. I now know that he can use me and every one of us anytime. We just have to be willing to take that leap of faith.